Wow, that's actually what happened in Germany in real time 100 years ago. Whew, it's a lot. That's a lot, man. Whew. Wow, it's so similar. The more you read and listen and hear, the more similar the story's getting into. The elites get the rich, the money, the common people get poor. The smart always win. Yes. Okay, that's enough of that. Today we're coming back to reading real hard, because it's been 2 or 3 days I haven't doing my reading, and it is very unfortunate and very bad. It severely injured my emotions and physics and all my ability to think because I'm not reading. I feel like my mind is going back to the old times of just a rigid, corrupted machine that doesn't work properly. So I think that's a very in a way very precious experience that I actually had real time experience on. If you start reading, you feel all the benefits, and then when you forced to stop for a few days, that reaction, the effect on you is actually, you can tell the difference, and you will you will be more appreciated on your habits of reading, because just reading just make your mind sharper at times. Mm. So just simply put it this way, and stop talking, and I'll start reading. Okay, this is a book um, written by Henry David Thoreau in 1849, Civil Disobedience. I hardly accept the motto that government is best which governs least, and I should like to see it acted up to more rapidly and systematically carried out. It finally amounts to this, which also I believe, that government is best which governs not at all. And when men are prepared for it, that will be the kind of government which they will have. Hmm. And when men are prepared for it, that will be the kind of government which they will have. Hmm. Government is at least but an expedient. What is expedient? At best, but an expedient. Man, do you understand what expedient mean? I do not. That's when I go to look it up on the dictionary. Collins says an expedient is an action that achieves a particular purpose, but may not be morally right. Expedient. We remember.
Expedient.
We remember expedient over rule of law. Remember on Constitution of Liberty by Frederick Hayek. He talked about this in his book, and that is exactly the word expedient. Your action achieves some type of purpose, but not exactly morally proper. It's may not be morally right. You just have to do some unmoral, immoral thing to, in the name of achieving some higher purpose, but that purpose is actually never higher than the values that you're supposed to hold without expedient, right? So, well, here, come back to Henry Thore's. Well, government is at best but an expedient. But most governments are usually, and all governments are sometimes, are usually, and all governments are sometimes inexpedient. Well, what is inexpedient now? Let's find out. Inexpedient. Interesting word. It's inexpedient. What is inexpedient?
Inexpedient.
Not suitable, advisable, or judicious. 不明智的,不当的, inexpedient.
Inexpedient.
Not suitable. Inexpedient. Yes? So government is at best but an expedient. But most governments are usually, and more, all governments are sometimes inexpedient. Inexpedient. The objection which have been brought against a standing army, and they are many and weighty, and deserve to prevail, may also at last be brought against a standing government. The standing army is only an arm of the standing government. The government itself, which is only the mode which the people have chosen to execute their will, is equally liable to be abused and prevented before the people can act through it. Witness the present Mexican War, the work of comparatively a few individuals using the standing government as their tool. For in the outset, the people would not have consented to this measure. This American government, what is it but a tradition, though a recent one, endeavoring to transmit itself unimpaired to posterity. Unimpaired to posterity. Okay, well, that's what we need to find out. Posterity.
Posterity.
子孙 posterity. Unimpaired to posterity. Unimpaired.
Unimpaired.
没有削弱的,未减少的, unimpaired. Okay, so endeavoring to transmit itself unimpaired to posterity, but each instant losing some of its integrity. It has not the vitality and force of a single living man, for a single man can bend it to his will. It is a sort of wooden gun to the people themselves. Sort of wooden gun. But it is not the less necessary for this, for the people must have some complicated machinery or other, and here it's din. To hear it's din. To hear it's din? What is din? D-I-N? Prosperity. Din.
Din.
再三嘱咐. Here it's din to satisfy that idea of government which they have. Governments show thus how successfully men can be imposed on, even impose on themselves, for their own advantage. It is excellent, we must all allow. Yet this government never of itself furthered any enterprise, but by the alacrity. Alacrity? Alacrity.
Alacrity.
Alacrity with which it got out of its way. Oh, alacrity. If you do something with alacrity, you do it quickly and eagerly. Alacrity. What What a good word. Alacrity, guys. Alacrity. Alacrity, with which it got out of its way. It does not keep the country free. It does not settle the West. It does not educate. The character inherent in American people has done all that has been accomplished, and it would have done somewhat more if the government has not sometimes got in its way. For government is an expedient, but which men would fain succeed, it letting one another along. And as has been said, when it is most expedient, the governed are most let alone by it. Trade and commerce, if they were not made of India rubber, would never manage to bounce over the obstacles which legislators are continually putting in their way. And if one were to judge these men wholly by the effects of their actions and not partly by their intentions, they would deserve to be classed and punished with those mischievous persons who put obstructions on the railroads. But to speak practically and as a citizen, unlike those who call themselves no government men, I ask for not at once no government, but at once a better government. Let every man make known what kind of government would command his respect, and that will be one step toward obtaining it. Ah. After all, the practical reason why, when the power is once in the hands of the people, a majority are permitted and for a long period continue to rule is not because they are most likely to be in the right, nor because this seems fairest to the minority, but because they are physically the strongest. But a government in which the majority rule in all cases cannot be based on justice, even as far as men understand it. Can there not be a government in which majorities do not virtually decide right or wrong, but conscious? In which majorities decide only those questions to which the rule of expediency is applicable? Must the citizen ever for a moment, or in the least degree, resign his conscience to the legislation? Why has every man a conscience? Then I think that we should be men first and subjects afterwards. It is not desirable to cultivate a respect for the law so much as for the right. The only obligation which I have a right to assume is to do at any time what I think right. It is truly enough said that a corporation has no conscience, but a corporation of conscious men is a corporation which a conscious, with a conscious. Law never made man a whit more just, and by means of their respect for it, even the well disposed are daily made agents of injustice. A common and natural result of an undue respect for law is that you may see a file of soldiers, colonel, captain, corporal, privates, powder monkeys, and all, marching in admirable order over hill and dale to the wars, against their will, against their common sense and conscience, which makes it very steep marching indeed, and produces a palpitation of the heart. produce a palpitation of the heart, man. What does that mean? Palpitation? Palpitation.
palpitation,
Palpitation. When someone has palpitation, their heart beats very fast in an irregular way. They have no doubt that it is a damnable business in which they are concerned. They are all peaceably inclined. Now, what are they? Men at all? Or small movable forts and magazines at the service of some scrupulous man in power? Scrupulous man in power. Visit the Navy Yard and behold a Marine, such a man as an American government can make, or such as it can make a man with its black arts, a mere shadow and remnants of humanity, a man laid out alive and standing, and already, as one may say, buried under arms with funeral accompaniments. Accompaniments. Accompaniments, though it may be. Accompaniments. What is accompaniments, man? We need to find out.哦，
阿丽，我今天安装那个餐车的师傅和安装那个晾衣杆的师傅来了，我今天可能去不了店里，但我还是先跟你说一声，然后等我把这俩弄好了，咱们就可以来我家吃饭了。
啦啦啦啦啦，啦啦啦啦，啦啦啦啦啦啦，啦啦啦啦啦啦啦啦，啦啦啦啦啦啦啦啦，啦啦啦啦啦啦。哎呦，哎呦，哎呦，哎呦，哎呦，哎呦，哎呦，哎呦，亲爱的，你慢慢飞，小心前面带刺的玫瑰。亲爱的，你快快飞，小心后边带玫瑰的刺。亲爱的，你快快飞，飞来飞去就成了大鹰飞。亲爱的，你快快飞，飞。無法令後皇帝身優品幾舊，能以身兼公監帝品務，無法理生一不好，窮我生以質底鬥，面懵傲不得忍死，奉我身演得很鬥，無理格登實現高品，面面好忽 日死鬥，令我吉等悲身地，隱意如神，龍傲殺底任，命我高。夢仍有殺定格扮爆裝，面面覺不的一有，嗷嗷嗷嗷嗷！哎呀，真是一波未起，一波又改。亲爱的，哎呦 ，sorry. Accompaniment. Accompaniment 哦，伴奏、伴随物 accompaniment. Let's see. The accompaniment to a song or tune is the music that is played at the same time as it and forms a background to it. An accompaniment is something that goes with another thing. If one thing happens to the accompaniment of another, they have at the same time. Accompaniment. An event or situation that happens at the same time as or in connection with another. Accompaniment. A subordinate musical part provides background for more important parts. The act of accompanying someone or something in order to protect them. Accompaniment. Escort. All right. 那我们明天回复你好。OK，拜拜拜。Accompaniment. Okay, so we didn't really understand what the last sentence that as stated by Thoreau, that we visit the Navy Yard and behold a Marine, such a man as an American government can make, or such as it can make a man with its black arts, a mere shadow of remnants of humanity, a man laid out alive and standing, and already, as one may say, buried under arms with funeral accompaniment. Wow. Funeral accompaniment. Though it may be not a drum was heard, not a funeral note. As his course to the rampart we hurried. Not a soldier discharged his farewell shot, or over the grave where our hero we buried. Wow, that is some really good text. Not a drum was heard, not a funeral note. As his course to the rampart we hurried. rampart we hurried. As his course to the rampart we hurried. It's pretty steep, pretty steep. I had to say, my friend, you know that we always have each other. That we always have each other. May I say you to be one that I'm going to deny, going to tonight. La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la。看来我们的这个手机啊，有些问题，我们先放下。The mass of men serve the state thus, not as men mainly, but as machines. With their bodies, they are the standing army and the militia, jailers, constables, pose comitatus, pose comitatus, Can I call me? Commutatus.
Commutatus.
Commutatus. 雇从军，雇从队，同们，雇从啊 Commutatus run。哇，这里居然没有音译 Commutatus was a Germanic friendship structure that compelled kings to rule in consultation with their warriors, forming a war band. The Commutatus, as described in the Roman historian Tacitus' treatise Germania. Oh, interesting. This is very interesting fact that we just find out that Commutatus is actually some type of warriors. Pose Commutatus. So what is pose mean, my friend? Posse is actually
Posse.
Posse is actually what? It's actually a posse of people, is a group of people with the same job or purpose. Posse. In former times, a posse was a group of men who were brought together by the local law officer to help him chase and capture a criminal. Posse. Okay, 就是协助地方执法官追捕犯罪的民防团。Posse, comitatus, etc. In most cases, there is no free exercise whatever of the judgment or of the moral sense, but they put themselves on a level with wood and earth and stones. And wooden men can perhaps be manufactured that will serve the purpose as well. Such command no more respect than men of straw, all a lump of dirt. They have the same sort of worth only as horses and dogs. Yet such as these even are commonly esteemed good citizens. Others, as most legislators, politicians, lawyers, ministers, and office holders, serve the state chiefly with their heads. And as they rarely make any moral distinctions, they are as likely to serve the devil without intending it as God. A few, a very few, as heroes, patriots, martyrs, reformers in the great sense, and men serve the state with their conscience. Also, and as necessary, resist it for the most part, and they are commonly treated as enemies by it. A wise man will only be useful as a man, and will not submit to be clay, and stop a hole to keep the wind away, but leave that office to his dust at least. Oh, I am too high born to be propertied, to be a secondary at control, or useful serving man and instrument to any sovereign state throughout the world. Ooh. He who gives himself entirely to his fellow men appears to them useless and selfish. But he who gives himself partially to them is pronounced a benefactor and a philanthropist. How does it become a man to behave toward this American government today? I answer that he cannot, without disgrace, be associated with it. I cannot, for an instance, recognize that political organization as my government, which is the slaves' government also. All men recognize the right of revolution. That is, the right to refuse allegiance to and to resist the government when its tyranny or its inefficiency are great and unendurable. But almost all say that such is not the case now, but such was the case. They think in the revolution of 75, if one were to tell me that this was a bad government because it taxed certain foreign commodities brought to its ports, it is most probable that I should not make an ado about it, for I can do without them. All machines had their fiction, and possibly this does enough good to counterbalance the evil. At any rate, it is a great evil to make a stir about it. But when the friction comes to have its machine, and oppressed and robbery are organized, I say let us not have such a machine any longer. In other words, when a sixth of the population of a nation which has undertaken to be the refuge of liberty are slaves, and a whole country is unjustly overturned and conquered by a foreign army and subjected to military law. I think that it is not too soon for honest men to rebel and revolutionize. What makes this duty the more urgent is the fact that the country so overrun is not our own, but ours is the invading army. Paley, a common authority with many unmoral questions, in his chapter on the duty of submission to civil government, resolves all civil obligation into expediency. And he proceeds to say that so long as the interest of the whole society requires it, that is, so long as the established government cannot be resisted or changed without public inconveniency, it is the will of God that the established government be obeyed and no longer. This principle being admitted, the justice of every particular case of resistance is reduced to a computation of the quantity of the danger and the grievance on the one side and of the probability and expense of redressing it on the other. Of this he says, every man shall judge for himself, but Paley appears never to have contemplated those cases to which the rule of expediency does not apply, in which a people, as well as an individual, must do justice, cost what it may. If I have unjustly wrested a plank from a drowned man, I must restore it to him, though I drew myself. This, according to Paley, would be inconvenient, but he that would save his life in such a case shall lose it. This people must cease to hold slaves and to make war on Mexico, though it cost them their existence as a people. In their practice, nations agree with Paley, but does not one think that Massachusetts does exactly what is right at the present crisis? A drab of state, a close of silver slut, to have her train borne up and her soul trail in the dirt. Wow. Wow. Born up? What does that mean? Born.
Born.
忍受 born 忍受 忍受 born by 有什么负担 born up. What does that mean? Let's see. Born up. Bone up. Bone up. 我说的是 born up, buddy. Born up. There you go. 鼓励、支持、决心、力量。She was born up to the ambulance. 她被抬上了。那么 to have her train borne up and her soul trail in the dirt. Trail. Train trail. Train trail. Let's see. What does trail mean? Trail. Trail in the dirt. 足迹 trails. The soul. Trail in the dirt. Drab of state. A close of silver slut. A drab of state. Drab.
Drab.
Drab. A drab of state. What is drab, man? Let's see. If you describe something as drab, you think that it is dull and boring to look at or experience. Drab of state. A dusty drabness of nearby village of the color drab. A light olive brown color. A slatternly woman. Hello. Good time. Drab. Oh my God. A drab of state, a close of silver slut, to have her train borne up and her soul trail in the dirt. La 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 la.
效果一直双面了。
La 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 la.
这只是一个起草的活动，还可以再改呢。
Okay. Well. Okay, well, let me take a look how long I have been reading. I didn't read much, but it's been 45 minutes, and so far I read 4 pages. That is the such. What are you doing now? I was reading. Now I probably are going to do something else. As you can see, my friend. Can you see, my friend? There are 3 people online. So we will try our thing later. Practically speaking, the opponents to a reform in Massachusetts are not 100,000 politicians at the South, but 100,000 merchants and farmers here who are more interested in commerce and agriculture than they are in humanity, and are not prepared to do justice to the slave and to Mexico, cost what it may. I quarrel not with far off foes, but with those who, near at home, cooperate with and do the bidding of those far away, and without whom the latter would be harmless. We are accustomed to say that the mass of men are unprepared, but improvement is slow because the few are not materially wiser or better than the many. It is not so important that many should be as good as you and that there be some absolute goodness somewhere, for that will leaven the whole lump. There are thousands who are, in opinion, opposed to slavery and to the war, who yet, in effect, do nothing to put an end to them, who, esteeming themselves children of Washington and Franklin, sit down with their hands in their pockets and say that they know not what to do, and do nothing, who even postpone the question of freedom to the question of free trade, and quietly read the prices current along with the latest advices from Mexico after dinner, and it may be fall after over them both. What is the price current of an honest man and patriot today? They hesitate and they regret, and sometimes they petition, but they do nothing in earnest and with effect. They will wait, well disposed, for others to remedy the evil, that they may no longer have it to regret. At most, they give only a cheap vote and a feeble countenance, and Godspeed to the right as it goes by them. They are 999 patrons of virtue to one virtuous man. But it is easier to deal with the real possessor of a thing than with the temporary guardian of it. Woo! All voting is a sort of gaming, like checkers or backgammon. Backgammon with a slight moral tinge to it. Wait a second. Tinge? Backgammon? What is backgammon, first of all? Backgammon. What is that?
Backgammon.
西洋双陆棋戏 Very interesting. Backgammon is a game for two people played on a board marked with long triangles. Each player has 15 wooden or plastic discs. The players throw dice and move the discs around the board. Interesting. Wow, interesting. We should check it out. What does it look like? Backgammon.
BKMN.
What?
BKMN.
Are you kidding me?
Backgammon.
Backgammon. Okay. Well, here. So, you see, all voting is a sort of gaming, like checkers or backgammon, with a slight moral tinge to it, a playing with right and wrong, with moral questions, and betting naturally accompanies it. Betting naturally accompanies it. The character of the voters is not staked. I cast my vote perchance as I think right. but I am not virtually concerned that that right should prevail. I am willing to leave it to the majority. Its obligation, therefore, never exceeds that of expediency. Even voting for the right is doing nothing for it. It is only expressing to man feebly your desire that it should prevail. A wise man will not leave the right to the mercy of chance, nor wish it to prevail through the power of the majority. There is but little virtue in the action of masses of men. When the majority shall at length vote for the abolition of slavery, it will be because they are indifferent to slavery, or because there is but little slavery left to be abolished by their vote. They will then be the only slaves. Only his vote can hasten the abolish of slavery who asserted his own freedom by his vote. I hear of a convention to be held at Baltimore or elsewhere for the selection of a candidate for the presidency, made up chiefly of editors and men who are politicians by profession. But I think, what is it to any independent, intelligent, and respectable man what decision they may come to? Shall we not have the advantage of his wisdom and honesty? Nevertheless, can we not count upon some independent votes? Are there not many individuals in the country who do not attend conventions? But no, I find that the respectable man, so called, has immediately drifted from his position and despairs of his country when his country has more reason to despair of him. Despair of his country. Despair. What does that mean?
Despairs.
Despairs. What does it mean? Despairs? Let's see. Despairs
Despair.
is the feeling that everything is wrong and that nothing will improve. Despair. Okay. And despair of his country. When his country has more reason to despair of him. He forthwith adopts one of the candidates thus selected as the only available one, thus proving that he is himself available for any purposes of the demagogue. His vote is of no more worse than that of any unprincipled foreigner or hiler native. Wait. Demagogue. Do you understand demagogue? Demagogue.
Demagogue.
Demagogue. Okay, let's see. What is a demagogue? If you say that someone such as a politician is a demagogue, you are criticizing them because you think they try to win people's support by appealing to their emotions rather than using reasonable argument. Demagogue. What a word.
Demagogue.
煽动者 demagogue. 快 write it down. Demagogue. Demagogue. Appeal to their emotion instead of their reasoning. That is a very bold, very terrible thing to do. But what can you do? We are emotional animals. Demagogue. Appealing to their emotions. Emotions rather than reason. Reasonable arguments. Reason, demagogue, emotion. All right, people, citizen, people, support. Okay, people support emotion. Okay, very good, very good. Now let's get back to the work. He votes of himself more worse than that of any unprincipled foreigner to or hiring native, hireling,
hireling,
hireling. Oh, very interesting. Hireling. Let's take a look at this very instant. Hireling. What is that? Hireling. Hireling.
hireling,
Hireling. Cool. Hmm. If you refer to someone as a hireling, you disapprove of them because they do not care who they work for and they are willing to do illegal or immoral things as long as they are paid. Wow. 金钱使唤者 hire hire hireling.
hireling,
Wow. That's a very terrible thing. Hireling. Controlled by money. Ooh. No morals or legal. Law. Moral. Hireling. Is that a word? His vote is of no more worse than that of any unprincipled foreigner or hireling native who may have been bought. Oh, for a man who is a man, and as my neighbor says, has a bone in his back which you cannot pass your hand through. Our statistics are at fault. The population has been returned too large. How many men are there to a square 1,000 miles in this country? Hardly one. Does not America offer any inducement for men to settle here? Inducement. Offer any inducement to settle here? Inducement? Hmm. If someone is offered an inducement to do something, they are given or promised gifts or benefits in order to persuade them to do it. Inducement.
inducement,
Ah. Hardly one. Does not American offer any inducement for men to settle here? The American has dwindled dwindled into an odd fellow, one who may be known by the development of his organ of gregariousness and a manifest lack of intellect and cheerful self reliance, whose first and chief concern on coming into the world is to see that the Elmish houses are in good repair, and therefore yet he has lawfully done the viral garb to collect a fund for the support of the widows and orphans that may be, who in short ventures to live only by the aid of the mutual insurance company, which has promised to decently, bury him decently. It is not a man's duty, as a matter of course, to devote himself to the eradication of any, even the most enormous wrong. He may still properly have other concerns to engage him, but it is his duty at least to wash his hands of it, and if he gives it no thought longer, not to give it particularly his support. If I devote myself to other pursuits and contemplations, I must first see at least that I do not pursue them sitting upon another man's shoulders. I must get off him first, that he may pursue his contemplations too. Pursue his contemplations. Contemplations, his ideas, his ways, his plans, contemplations, 意图. He may follow his contemplations too. Contemplation, a long and thoughtful observation. Ooh, contemplation. Contemplation. Long and thoughtful observation. Wow, a long and thoughtful observation, a calm, lengthy, intent consideration. Wow. Calm, lengthy, intent consideration. Very good. Reflection, rumination, musing, thoughtfulness, contemplation. Okay, I must get off him first, that he may pursue his contemplations too. See what gross inconsistency is tolerated. I have heard some of my townsmen say I should like to have them order me out to help put down an insurrection of the slaves, or to march to Mexico, see if I would go. Wow, very interesting. Okay, so it's the civil disobedience is actually written during the 18 something, which is like the abolition of the slavery in the United States before. Yes? 下午好. And what is this?
Insurrection.
Insurrection, insurrection. What does that mean? An insurrection is violent action that is taken by a large group of people against the rulers of their country, usually in order to remove them from office. Insurrection. Oh no, that's insurrection. Organized opposition to authority. A conflict in which one faction tries to wrest control from another. Insurrection. I shall like to have them order me out to help put down an insurrection of the slaves, or to march to Mexico, see if I would go. And yet these very men have each, directly by their allegiance, and so indirectly, at least by their money, furnished a substitute. The soldier is applauded who refuses to serve in an unjust war by those who do not refuse to sustain the unjust government which makes the war. Is applauded by those whose own act and authority he disregards as and sets at naught. Sets at naught. What does that mean? Disregard, sets at naught. Naughty, not. Naughty, not. Naughty by nature, not.
Not.
And sets at naught. Let's take a look. What does that mean? Sets at naught. Do we have other come to naught? 失败啊 sets at naught. 失败的 it was off a naught. A quantity of no importance. What? A quantity of no importance, not. Okay, well, let's get back to the reading, which is in applauded by those whose own act and authority he disregards and set at naught, as if the state were penitent to that degree that penitent to that degree that it differed one to scourge it while it sinned. Wow, very a lot of words.
Penitent.
Penitent to the degree that it differed one to scourge it. Let's see what scourge. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. Scourge.
Scourge.
Scourge one differ to one to scourge it while it sinned. Scourge. A scourge is something that causes a lot of trouble or suffer to a group of people. Scourge. Ew. Scourge. People support. Scourge. Scourge. If something scourges a place or a group of people, it causes great pain and suffering to people. Scourge. Well, let's get back to that. Where one scourge while it's seen, but not to that degree that it left off sinning for a moment. Thus, under the name of order and civil government, we are all made at last to pay homage to and support our own meanness. After the first blush of sin comes its indifference, and from immoral it becomes, as it were, unmoral, and not quite unnecessary to that life which we have made. Very interesting. The broadest and most prevalent error requires the most disinterested virtue to sustain it. The slight reproach to which the virtue of patriotism is commonly liable, the noble are most likely to incur. Those who incur. There you go. Incur. Most likely to incur. If you incur something unpleasant, it happens to you because of something you have done. Incur. The noble are most likely to incur. Those who, while they disapprove of the character and measures of a government, yield to it their allegiance and support, are undoubtedly its most most conscious supporters. Conscientious or conscientious. 认真的，勤勤恳恳的，凭良心的 conscientious. Conscientious. Someone who is conscientious is very careful to do their work properly. Careful work. Work properly. Conscientious. Good afternoon, Anchor. Good afternoon. I can't see your name, sorry. It's a little bit blurry, but welcome. Someone who is conscientious is very careful to do their work properly. And I think with that being said, We are now at the place where we're supposed to be and get to know that the time we have is slipping away. Yet we are continue reading till we finish the 5 pages, which it soon come to an end. Conscientious supporters, and so frequently the most serious obstacles to reform. Some are petitioning the state to dissolve the union, to disregard the requisitions of the president. Why do they not dissolve it themselves, the union between themselves and the state, and refuse to pay their quota into its treasury? Do not they stand in the same relation to the state that the state does to the union? And have not the same reasons prevented the state from resisting the union, which have prevented them from resisting the state? That's very interesting. Yeah, but we do not understand much about it. So far, we have read the 5 pages. I had to say at most. I was just reading by who is what is it about, and I find Thoreau's writing is very different from what I was reading before as Hayek's. But generally, I think these are the ways to express your ideas, to discuss an issue. You can have a million ways of expressing it, right? And Thorough putting it this way, and it's I would say it's a little bit hard to read. Maybe you need to slow down, like paragraph by paragraph, so we can understand. I think another reason that it felt harder to understand is probably because that we didn't have the Chinese translation of the work. We'll take a look. If we find it, we're probably gonna go get it and to accompany our reading in Chinese and English. Therefore, we can understand the text better and the thoughts of the writers that trying to deliver. Okay, well then, with that being said, now it's been an hour and 12 minutes of reading. I gave myself the task of reading 2 hours at least a day. And here we come the break of the reading, and I'll put some music and hope everybody enjoy. Oh, the music is going to be Why is Germany so rich?
嗯
Interesting. Interesting. Oh God. time and space. Between time and space. Sometimes I feel so intense, for days I wish I waste a lot of time so fine. When I find my mind, I'll be fine. I'll be fine.你能不能你的鼓声有一些踏实的，能不能表现出一种对音乐的热情？你的鼓声，你的鼓掌声，能不能再热情一点，充满活力，让他们去听见你的鼓掌声代表着你的生命，你的表现，你能够听见在一举一动之间，你的神情和你的动作产生出了这声音，或者是无力的、没用的、苍白的，只要你去享受那些激烈的感受，让你知道这生命的欧洲。若你能找到所谓沉重的体悟，啦啦啦啦啦啦啦啦啦啦。 些歌从头到尾排一遍，你最好大声一点。哈哈哈。你来主唱。
这是哪首歌呀？哪首歌啊？
嘿！哈哈哈！兔子是最棒的，你看，它又不会唱又不会跳，但是愿意学，
啊，
也不太愿意学，其实。
因为没有一个很好的老师教兔子呢。
什么？
因为那个老师一点都不耐心。
对，把错误都归结到老师身上。你作为学习者，
因为老师不懂得
没有
因材施
任
教
何。责任，没有任何责任。
请问这个适合兔子吗？
不知道，如果他有钱的话就适合，如果他没钱，干贷款的话就可能不太适合。嗯，如果是年入100万的，确实很适合。如果是超前消费的话，就可能不太了。你说呢？
所以学校会鼓励兔子好好工作的。
是的，兔子好好工作，加油，很棒。需要排练一下。排练呢，需要一些小朋友可以一起来和我们说说唱唱跳跳，唱唱跳跳的人生总是充满了奇迹，
那个，
唱唱跳跳的人生。
那书店问后续怎么说的吗？
明天回复你。
明天啥意思？你跟他们谈的是什么？
就是因为他们场地每周办公益活动嘛，然后我们要周一到周五排满，周四就那个英语讲完就展给了，然后其他的改起来，搞起来，要不然每天闲的没事干，浪费时间。做具体的工作，在具体的地点做具体的工作之后，会有一个趋势。
你跟他说的是下午4点吗？4点到6点吗？
下午4点到6点。
你跟他定的那种时间？
咱们没有时间，没有具体定的，有机制。
你看这个合同了吗？我们怎么改呢？就今天带过来的合同啊。你看到我已经了。
一个小时，一个小时，两个小时，两个小时，我们都在。It's networking time. It's network. It's network. It's network.
你
搞不起来了。每次练的时候，那个半植物人在对板没有什么直接的反应。Back to the video. Germany has been there for a while. Now, let's take a look at France. Preface. Germany. This is not Germany. This is John Locke on education. I'm going to read the early hours. The first hour of my reading was by David Thoreau, The Civil Disobedience, and now the second hour of our reading supposed to be John Locke on education. One can turn to several of John Locke's essays for his views on education, the conduct of the understanding, the thoughts concerning reading and study for a gentleman, or indeed the vastly different memorandum on working schools, but certainly some thoughts concerning education is his most significant and influential pedagogical treatise. The work belongs to the period of Locke's Dutch exile, the years between 1683 and 1689, during which he devoted himself primarily to the composition of his essay concerning human understanding. The thoughts took form in a series of letters to Edward Clarke on the upbringing and education of Clarke's children. And indeed, there is no evidence that Locke originally contemplated publication. The correspondence did attract attention. However, for on March 2nd, 1693, Locke's friend William Milnox wrote him from Dublin. My brother has sometimes told me that whilst he had the happiness of your acquaintance at Leyden, you were upon a work on the method of learning, and that too at the request of a tender father for the use of his only son. Wherefore, good sir, let me most earnestly entreat you by no means to lay aside this infinitely useful work till you have finished it, for will be of vast advantage to all mankind, as well as particularly to me, your entire friend. Locke replied on March 28th, these letters, or at least some of them, have been seen by some of my acquaintance here, who would needs persuade me would be of use to punish them. Your importance to see them has not I. Uh-oh. Limited preview. Are you kidding me? Okay, let's get back to our bookshelf to see if it's that. If we can find our thing on the desktop. John Locke's on education. Okay, here, John Locke. On Liberty, John Sut Mill. And open, close. Wait a second. That's all? Okay. Boom, 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 boom. John Locke. John Locke on education. I think I downloaded before. Education, Carl Wright. The Education of Carl Wright, or The Training of the Child. This is one of the books I was supposed to read. The Principle, Education, the Art of Logical Thinking. William Walker. Tao of Jukundo, Song of Kabir. Shakespeare, Othello, Shahnameh, Sunan second foundation. Quite practical mind reading. Practical mind reading. William Walker. Oh, poem book by Jerry. PC Manual. Wilde. Oscar Wilde. Happy Prince. Soul of Man. Ballad. Ballad of Readingale. On the Origin of Species. And Newton's Principia. This was also supposed to be read intensively. Natural wonders. Every child should know. Wow. Yeah, this was one of the book of years I was supposed to read. John Blake, Sons of Innocence. Industrial Society and Right First. Hegel. Philosophy. Gifts with no giver. A love affair with truth. Well, I did not find the book we were intending to read. Did we? Nope. We did not. So how? Is it in this? Trash. Bitcoin. Wait a second. Here, Perpetual Peace. Carl Groundwork. Kant Groundwork title. Oh, this is Groundwork title. Carl. Hello. Zwingli. Discourse on political economy.
所以刚刚是在说我吗？
没有，我在说别人。Discover a modern utopia. Civil disobedience.
无用的
No
没有
idea.
反应的半熟人是说我吗？
Ideology and Utopia, an introduction to sociology of knowledge. What is this? Who wrote this? Carl Maynham. Carl Maynham. Civil Disobedience, David Sorrell, Leviton, Thomas Hobbes. Napoleonic Code of Laws. Nationalism by Tagore. Kenny's Possibilities. Kenny's Possibilities. On Liberty by John Stott Mail. Open Utopia. Rousseau, Emily. Okay, here, Rousseau, Emily, we found it. Rousseau, Social Contract, we found it. Smith, Adam, Wells of Nation. Tagore's Nationalism, The Constitution of Liberty. Okay, so we have all these. Without the John Locke's on Education, didn't I download it already? Why don't you just go for the founder? John Locke on Education. Do I have it? Constitution on liberty. I don't have it. Okay, so let's get back to the page to download. Supposedly, can we download? There's external differentiation, notes, shear flat on PDF. Ba 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 bee, ba 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 bee, ba 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 bee, ba. Flag shear favorite. I want to download it. Please find me a login and browse. Can I do that? Okay. Uh-oh. 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 Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. No, no. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. No, 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 no.哦，我们还 limited previous，登录了还这样？登录了还这样吗？Download optional, not suitable files to display here。啊，所以并不行。那我们就找行的呗。爱情是多么荒唐可笑，
那是去找你的致命片是吧？
情是多么无奈何好。Funny thoughts, with educational thoughts. Oh, la, 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 la. 哎，就是这本呀。Yep，就是这本 PDF。 Oh, 1889. Doctrina. Verse promoved incidence. Rectic. Cultus. Pactor. Robrant. It's annuity.
Annuity.
Mhm. Annuity. An annuity is an investment or insurance policy that pays someone a fixed sum of money each year. A new pupil. Banks logic before mathematics. What? Locke's return to Lord Shaftesbury. Locke's share in educating Lord Shaftesbury's grandson. Locke at Oxford again. Locke's exile in Holland. 83 to 89. Is deprived of his studentship. 84. His extradition demanded. 85. He is pardoned. 86. Friendship with Leclerc. Locke begins to publish epitome of the great essay appears. Epitome. Origin of thoughts on education. Returns to England with Queen Mary. Locke is offered ambassadorship. He settles at Oates. His public functions. Correspondence with W. Knox. Locke publishes Thought on Education, March 1693. Wow. That's absolutely amazing. An infant terrible. Locke's scheme of working schools. Locke and Newton. The essays at the universities. Locke's last days. His death. Introduction, critical, three sources, experience, the working of other minds, the working of one's own. Three sources. Whoa. Unconscious influence of experience. Locke's belief in reason. Need of learning from others. Need of learning from others. Locke and previous writers. Armstead's succession. Rebellious. Montian. Locke, Rousseau. Rebellious and realism. Montaigne on true knowledge and on the true place of knowledge after virtue and wisdom. On the true place of knowledge after virtue and wisdom. So it should be virtue, wisdom, virtue, and knowledge. Locke's study of Montaigne. Education before instruction. Education before instruction. Locke wrote for gentlemen. Importance of physical education. Locke's other four requisites. Locke's unimportance of habit. Locke on influence of companions. On influence of companions. The tutor. Locke on learning. Cardinal Newman accuses Locke of neglecting cultivation of the mind. Neglecting cultivation. The charge groundless. Locke and realism. Hallam on Locke. Points of agreement between Montaigne and Locke. Epistle dedicatory. Some thoughts concerning education. Section 1. Oh, wow. That is where it begins. Hardening the body, not too warm clothing, wet feet, cold water, swimming, open air. Caution established by habit against tight lacing, diet, meals, drinking, against strong drinks, fruit, sleep and bedding, action of the bowels. Ooh. Medicine, mind formed by education. Self-denial must be taught early. Spoiling children and its results. Training in current cruelty and vanity. What? Training in lying and intemperance. Safeguard in early training to self-denial. Do not reward importunity. Do not reward importunity. What does that mean? I have no idea. Importunity. Do not reward on importunity. Insistent. Societation and entreaty. What? What's societation? What does that mean? Importunity? This importunity left me no alternative but to agree.
Solicitation.
Solicitation. Solicitation is the act of asking someone for money, help, support, or an opinion. Solicitation. Interesting. Solicitation, an entreaty addressed to someone of superior status. Request for a sum of money. The act of enticing person to do something wrong as an offer of sex in return for money. 再看透口剧，透口剧，Importunity, not to reward importunity. Parent and child, father and son, how to avoid punishments against corporal punishment. Corporal punishment. What is that? Corporal
corporal,
肉体的 punishment against harm from severity. Harms from severity. What? Harm from injudicious reward. Rewards and punishment. Right arrangement of praise and blame. Difficulty from servants. The sense of shame. Praise in public. Blame in private. Praise in public, blame in private. Childness. That is very interesting. Yes? Um,
Man.
incorrigible, enchant,
你知道帕纳塞是什么吗？哦，这个 Hmm. Interesting. I have to say, John Locke on education is amazing. I find very, very useful, and I'm gonna devote a lot of time reading this book. Hopefully, you can join us anytime. Reading club. Let's go.